Old McMindful's. E-I-E-I, Om. Hey, mountaineers. Welcome to the farm, where the moos are mindful, the quacks are calm, and every breath sings a peaceful psalm. Just like a gentle breeze, or Om, we're gonna breathe, sing, and feel right at home. So stretch your smile, open your heart. Let's let the mindful magic start. Old McMindful had a farm. E-I-E-I, Om. Where every critter stayed calm and warm. E-I-E-I, Om. With a breath here, and a be still there. Mindful joy was everywhere. Now come along and sing with me. Let's learn from animals wild and free. E-I-E-I, Om. And on that farm, he had a cow. E-I-E-I, Om. With a moo here and a mindful bow. E-I-E-I, Om. She chews her cud in peace, not haste. Each bite a moment she can taste. Moo here and moo there. Take a breath and show you care. E-I-E-I, Om. And on that farm, he had a horse. E-I-E-I, Om. With a neigh, neigh here, full of mindful force. E-I-E-I, Om. He gallops strong, but never rushed. Moves with purpose, calm and hushed. Neigh, neigh here, hoof, hoof there. Balance is his secret flair. E-I-E-I, Om. And on that farm, he had a chicken. E-I-E-I, Om. With a cluck, cluck here, joy quickened. E-I-E-I, Om. She pecks and scratches in the sun, living now, her moment's begun. Cluck, cluck here, beep, beep there. Mindful joy is everywhere. E-I-E-I, Om. And on that farm, he had a rooster. E-I-E-I, Om. With a cock-a-doodle-doo, he's a true time booster. E-I-E-I, Om. He greets the day with heart so bright and tells us, hey, the time feels right. Cock-a-doodle here, stretch-a-doodle there. Morning sings with mindful care. E-I-E-I, Om. And on that farm, he had a pig. E-I-E-I, Om. With an oink, oink here, he danced a jig. E-I-E-I, Om. Snorts with a laughter, wiggles with glee. He shows that joy is always free. Oink, oink here, wiggle, wiggle there. Let your smile float through the air. E-I-E-I, Om. And on that farm he had a duck. E-I-E-I-O. with a quack, quack here and lots of pluck. E-I, om. She floats with grace, so calm and still, just like a pond, peaceful and chill. Quack, quack here, flap, flap there, feel the breeze and breathe the air. E-I, om. And on that farm, he had a dog. E-I, om. With a woof, woof here through mist and fog. E-I, om. Loyal, loving, brave, and true. He reminds us kindness leads us through. Woof, woof here, wag, wag there. Share your love, it's everywhere. E-I, om. And on that farm, he had a cat. E-I, om. With a meow, meow. Here, she stretched like that. E-I, om. She listens well and takes her time. Her stillness is a perfect rhyme. Meow, meow. Here, purr, purr there. Self-care whispers, pause, beware. E-I, om. And on that farm, he had a turkey. E-I, om. With a gobble gobble here, so mindful and quirky. E-I, om. He struts with pride, his feathers wide. He's perfect, just as he is inside. Gobble gobble here, wiggle wobble there. Stand up tall with joyful flair. E-I, om. And on that farm he had a sheep. E-I, om. With a meh, meh. Here he fell asleep. E-I, om. He dreams in peace, with stars above, wrapped in a woolly cloud of love. Meh, here, snooze, snooze there. Sleepy thoughts float through the air. E-I, om. And on that farm he had a goat. E-I, om. With a meh, meh. Here he wrote a note. E-I, om. Dear world, he said, be bold, be true. Climb your mountain just like I do. Meh, meh. Here, leap, leap there. Be your brave and silly self, if you dare. E-I, om. And on that farm he had a donkey. E-I, om. With a hee-haw here he marched so wonky. E-I, om. He takes his time, he carries loads, with steady steps on twisty roads. Hee-haw here, hoof, hoof there, patience blooms with gentle care. E-I, om. Now here he is, the farmer wise, with sparkling eyes and peaceful ties. Old McMindful tends with grace, a smile always on his face. He loves each creature, big and small, because he knows we're one and all. So thank you for this mindful roam, and always know you're right at home. E-I, E-I, Om. Thank you, Mountaineers, for journeying this far with me. Now, let's take a moment to close our eyes and let all the sounds of the mindful farm drift gently in your mind. You might hear a moo, or a soft quack, or even a silly gobble. Each sound is part of a peaceful song, and now it's your turn to be part of it too. Now, let's take 3 big breaths together, just like Old McMindful taught us. Inhale through your nose, like you're smelling a field of wildflowers. Hold it, and now exhale slowly, like a rooster greeting the morning. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Great. Now let's do that 2 more times. Big breath in. Hold it. And let it out, gently, like a horse's sigh. One last time. Inhale in kindness. Hold it. And exhale out anything heavy. Now, picture yourself walking across the mindful farm. The grass is soft. The breeze is warm. The animals nod as you pass, proud of your peaceful heart. The cow reminds you to slow down. The goat tells you to be bold. The cat says rest when you need. And the dog? The dog just loves you completely. Because mindfulness means being you, right here, right now. No rushing, no pretending, just breathing, just being. And now, let's say our special Mindful Farm mantra together. You ready? Repeat after me in a whisper, just like the wind through the trees. Wherever I go, E-I, E-I, Om. I will mindfully grow, E-I, E-I, Om. And now, one more time, a little louder with your whole heart. Wherever I go, E-I, E-I, Om. I will mindfully grow, E-I, E-I, Om. Now give yourself a little smile. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. You just brought your inner farm to life. And mountaineers, if you loved this moment, there's a whole field of adventures waiting in the Mind Mountain. So share this with a friend, and let's all keep growing. E-I, E-I.